Whoa, hit the brakes. You've arrived at the #1 drive-by for American history. Welcome to The Pit Stop. Brought to you by In the Past Lane, the podcast about history and why it matters. Here's Edward T. O'Donnell, your host and historian at large.
Hi, everyone. Welcome to The Pit Stop, your Monday morning source for history on the go in just about 5 minutes. We offer this mini-feature every Monday in addition to our regular full-feature episodes. Here's what happened in American history the week of May 7th, 2018. Let's start with birthdays. May 8th is the birthday of abolitionist John Brown, who was born in Torrington, Connecticut in 1800. Brown is one of the most interesting figures in American history. Brown had grown up in a deeply religious family, and from an early age he became convinced that slavery was a great evil that needed to be abolished. So he joined the anti-slavery cause, and became increasingly convinced that he was God's chosen instrument to play a key role in the end of slavery. By the mid-1850s, Brown was in Kansas, fighting with a group of anti-slavery vigilantes who were battling pro-slavery vigilantes. He was involved in at least one massacre of pro-slavery partisans. Soon thereafter, Brown began plotting a raid into the South that he believed would trigger a massive slave insurrection that would end slavery once and for all. This raid on Harper's Ferry, Virginia, took place in October 1859. It was quickly put down by U.S. troops and Virginia militia, and Brown was tried, convicted, and executed, but not before making this stark prediction on the morning of his hanging. I, John Brown, am now quite certain that the crimes of this guilty land will never be purged away but with blood. 18 months later, the Civil War began. Tuesday, May 8th is the birthday of the radical Jesuit priest, Daniel Berrigan, who was born in New York City in 1921. Berrigan, along with his brother Philip, was best known for his activism protesting the Vietnam War. May 8th is the birthday of Harry Truman, who was born May 8th, 1884 in Lamar, Missouri. The 33rd President of the United States was known for his blunt manner of speaking and his willingness to engage in political battles. His supporters would shout, "Give him hell, Harry!" But Truman once said, "I never did give anybody hell. I just told the truth, and they thought it was hell." May 10th is the birthday of P.B.S. Pinchback, who was born May 10, 1837 in Macon, Georgia. Pinchback was born a free black man, and he later served in the Union Army during the Civil War. After the war, he entered politics during Reconstruction, and in 1871 he was elected lieutenant governor of Louisiana. And he later served briefly as the state's governor, making him the first African American to serve as a governor of a U.S. state. May 10th is also the birthday of John Wilkes Booth, who was born in 1838 in Bel Air, Maryland. Booth, of course, was the well-known actor who assassinated President Abraham Lincoln in the waning days of the Civil War. May 13th is the birthday of boxer Joe Louis, who was born in Lafayette, Alabama in 1914. Louis was heavyweight champion of the world from 1937 to 1949, and he's considered by many to be one of the greatest fighters of all time. As for events and anniversaries this week, May 7th is the anniversary of the sinking of the British ocean liner RMS Lusitania. This vessel was torpedoed by a German U-boat off the coast of Ireland, and it killed 1,198 people, including 128 Americans. The incident stoked pro-war sentiment in the United States, but President Woodrow Wilson insisted the United States must remain neutral. And it was another 2 years before the U.S. entered the war. If you're looking for a terrific read on this topic, I highly recommend Eric Larson's book, Dead Wake, The Last Crossing of the Lusitania. May 11th, that's when one of the greatest labor protests in American history began in 1894. The Pullman strike shut down large portions of the nation's railway network from mid-May to mid-July, before federal court injunctions, backed by federal troops, crushed the strike. May 13th marks the anniversary of the day the U.S. declared war on Mexico in 1846. The U.S. victory in the ensuing Mexican-American War allowed the United States to take the northern half of Mexico, a giant swath of territory that included the future states of California, Arizona, New Mexico, and parts of Nevada, Utah, Texas, and Colorado. May 13 marks the first of several Battle of the Sexes tennis matches featuring former tennis star and all-around self-promoting showboat Bobby Riggs versus the current top player in women's tennis, Margaret Court. This event that took place in 1973 saw Riggs win the match 6-2, 6-1. And he did so by throwing Margaret Court off her fast-paced game with lobs and drop shots. The victory landed Riggs on the cover of both Sports Illustrated and Time magazine. It also prompted another tennis star, Billie Jean King, to accept a challenge from Riggs to play. This event, held in the Houston Astrodome and broadcast on national TV in prime time, saw Riggs lose in straight sets. He did not go quietly. Okay, time for the last word. Let's give it to Eugene v. Debs, leader of the Pullman strike. Debs was a socialist and a labor leader who was at the center of many social justice causes between 1890 and 1920. In a 1908 speech, Debs remarked on a key insight into the role of protest and mobilization in moving history and achieving social progress. He said, "If it had not been for the discontent of a few fellows who had not been satisfied with their conditions, you would still be living in caves. Intelligent discontent is the mainspring of civilization. Progress is born of agitation. It is agitation or stagnation." Okay, people, that's your history fix for the week. Now put it in drive and go make your own history.